Chair recognizes Mr. Lawler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for hosting this hearing. Very straightforward hearing. During and after the fall of Kabul, examining the administration's emergency evacuation from Afghanistan. This is not a hearing about rehashing 20-plus years worth of policy. This is not a hearing about looking back as to why we went to Afghanistan in the first place. This is not a hearing about decisions made during the war. This is a hearing about the withdrawal and the epic failure of the administration with respect to that withdrawal. Let me say to each and every one of you, on behalf of the American people, I'm sorry. None of you should have been put in that situation. That is a failure of leadership. It is a failure of government. And it is a failure of our military leadership, not you. This should not have happened. For my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who have spent the entirety of this hearing trying to figure out a way to not deal with the consequences of these decisions, but to somehow look and try to point fingers at prior administrations. The President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief. The buck stops with him. He had a responsibility. If he disagreed with the prior administration's handling, if he disagreed with the prior administration's plan, fix it. To set a date certain and then move that date up. I was a member of the New York State Legislature. I wasn't in Congress. I watched in horror as planes were taking off and you had people running down the tarmac trying to get on that plane so they could save their lives, the lives of their children, the lives of our service personnel, the lives of people in Afghanistan who worked closely with our men and women in uniform. It is shameful what happened. And as a citizen, not as someone who has served, not as somebody who was on the ground there, as a citizen, it was horrifying to watch. 13 service members dead. Their families gutted. All of you heartbroken. Dealing with the after effects of that. I know as a state representative dealing with our local veterans organizations, the increase in the number of people, veterans who were dealing with PTSD as a result of that, suicide, absolutely shameful. So this is about accountability, this is about transparency, and this is about ensuring this never, ever happens again. There's not one American who should ever be left on the ground in a war zone. And the people who sacrificed so much in Afghanistan to help us, to leave them there, an absolute disgrace. I note, Lieutenant Colonel, in your addendum on women and children, today is International Women's Day. To allow what has transpired since, shameful. All of you are owed a debt of gratitude from your government, from your country, and you are owed, more than anything, the truth. That, hopefully, in part, is what we were able to accomplish with this hearing today. So I thank you for your time and your testimony. God bless you all, and thank you. I yield back.